It's your girl, Janai, the bushy-haired, bright-eyed phenom, and I am doing my very first interview. I am extremely honored, extremely excited, and I'm blushing because I am here with the queen, the princess herself, the honeybee. Miss Bria. We are out here enjoying this lovely scenery. This is like the perfect time to do your interview. So we're just gonna get a little bit. We're gonna try to tap a little bit into you, just a little bit, you know. Basically, you're the honeybee. You're the princess of poetry.
That's funny. No, that's funny.
Where did your journey begin?
Okay. The journey began, I started writing in middle school. So I was like, the poems weren't good. I just wrote every day because I was the shy girl who couldn't stand up for herself and who had bad self-esteem. And then we fast forward to high school. We had a poetry slam. I wrote a poem, killed it. And that was the start. So it only took me one good poem to write from 11 to 17. I finally wrote my good poem at 17, killed the poetry slam. And that was the first time I knew. I was like, I write pretty well. 2 years later, I was working. My friend was like, have you heard about open mic night? I was like, no, I want to go. I write poetry. So I went to Warm Wednesdays, which is my baby, my family, my home. And I went 1 week, heard the poets, like, lost my mind. I was like, this is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do in life. The next week, I performed, and then I was performing every week after that. So that's how it all started. So Pikesville High started off with the poetry slam. 2 years later, I found Warm Wednesdays, and then it was a rap after that.
Okay, all right. So I spoke a little bit, and you have self-proclaimed yourself as the princess of poetry. In your mind, in your thoughts, who is the queen of poetry?
The funny thing about it is, one, I did not actually name myself the princess of poetry. Somebody else named me that, and it was cute because I'm significantly younger than a lot of the poets that I deal with and interact with on a normal basis. But in our community, the queen of poetry is so cliche. Like the whole, I don't know. It's just so cliche. When you think of queen, I don't know. It's just weird. But I can't really say that I know there's a queen of poetry. I know some dope ass female poets. I happen to be friends with them. Rebecca DuPaz, Love the Poet, Shelley Says So. Tasha Jones is amazing. I mean, I've came into contact with so many powerful women who are just killing it. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Tasha Jones. Look her up. Tasha Jones is a fierce, short-haired, red-haired fireball, and she kills. She steps into a room, she spits on the mic or her 6-inch heels, and she kills it. But I mean, I definitely do have favorite poets. I don't think I've been on the scene long enough to say that I have found the queen of poetry, and that's no disrespect to anybody. But I do recognize talent, and I do salute the women. Kill shit. But yeah, as of right now, no queen of poetry.
There is this one poem, and I guess you could say it is my favorite. It is the all-powerful More Than a Vagina.
More Than a Vagina.
Yes. I need to know because, you tell these guys this. You try to explain this to men. They just don't get it. But you have opened it up so much so that into one poem that is beyond layman's term. Please explain the inspiration and the story behind More Than a Vagina.
More Than a Vagina. So, I used to work at a grocery store, and believe it or not, a lot of nonsense happens at the grocery store.
It does.
I mean, I was getting hit on so much by so many different men, all races, elderly, young, people in wheelchairs. I mean, it was just a lot. It was a lot going on. And no, it's fine. It's cool. Thank you. Yeah, I was just getting hit by a lot of people. So stuff just kept happening. Let's go to the poem. I said, one of the guys that worked at the store, he had a scan gun and he held it up to me. He said, how much does it cost? And I was like, haha, let's keep it moving. I was behind the counter, and a dude, an older white guy, came up to me, and he wanted to buy like a cigarillo. And he was like asking the flavors, what flavors do we have? It's a grocery store, you know, it's not a lot of flavors.
Right.
And he was like, I like them black and sweet. How do you like them? I was like, this isn't funny. Like, you've never said, you probably never dated a black woman. I did in your life. Say that in the poem. I go through a lot of hair colors. I was a redhead, and an older black guy came up to me, and he was like, how much does it cost to take a redhead out these days? And I was like, what? I was like, how much does it cost to get a redhead these days? I was like, I'm not for sale. And he was like, no, I was talking about dinner. So in the poem I go, an older black man the other day asked me how much it cost to take a redhead out. He tried to convince me he was talking about taking me to dinner, but see, I know that there are some guys that rather I know there are some guys that rather eat me than take me out to eat. Some guys would rather bounce me in their laps than bounce ideas back and forth with me. So that was the inspiration behind that. So then I just go on into the poem. But the thing is, men will say anything to you. Not all men, but in my encounters, men say anything. And they think they can say anything. And at the end of the day, they say all of this so they can get you in the bed. Yeah. So I wrote the poem to say, I'm more than a fucking vagina. Don't come at me with this BS. Because you're not going to get me in the bed. You're not going to get me what you want. And you need to step your game up. Because this whack, these whack pickup lines are terrible. And it just needs to stop. I think it's really important for girls to you know, to take ownership and to take power of what they have. Because it's the vagina is a very powerful thing. And you need to, you know, be proud of it. You need to take care of it. You need to have respect for it and have integrity and dignity. I'm all about that. So, you know, for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me and how me and my girl carry it, we just, you know.
More than a vagina.
More than a vagina. I have a brain too, and it's quite smart.
Yeah.
It produces good poems.
Yeah.
I happen to be funny sometimes. So it's important. I just don't want to be looked at as something pretty, like she's just pretty. I have another poem that says, call me brilliant, be for beautiful any day, because best believe when my looks fade, my intelligence will still remain. Because I don't want to be just the pretty girl. I want to be the pretty, smart, you know, go-getter, hardworking girl. The good poet, the everything. More than pretty.
That's why you're great. That's why these young girls out here today, they don't understand that. A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
And it's, I guess my question to you is, what advice could you give these young ladies these days? Because that poem, that what you just said, is more than just looks. A lot of the younger women these days don't understand that. They don't get that. So what would you tell the young ladies?
Young ladies, keep it cute and keep it classy all the time.
Boom.
Ratchet is not where it's at. Don't rush yourself into something that you're not ready for, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a first kiss, whether it's sex. Don't rush yourself. The moment will be right. Don't feel bad if you're the only person not doing something. Learn the importance of discretion. Use protection if you're going to do anything. Trust the person that you're doing things with. Do not bounce from boy to boy to boy to boy to girl to boy to girl to boy, boy, boy. Like, I mean, just, you know, have some respect for yourself.